Hi everyone, this is Becky from My Creative Life. Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a double page spread here in my Dylusions square journal. And you can see here this journal is pretty filled up. Just have a few more layouts before I'll do a complete flip through of the completed album. So I'm going to go ahead and flip over to a page where I have some green paint on the right side, and that's probably from a previous layout where I added in some extra paint that I had left over. But once I do my layout today, I will go ahead and cover that up. So I'm pulling out my ledger sheets here. These are from Dina Wakley, and I will go ahead and link all the items I used today down in my description box so you can check that out. I'm going to pick this one here and add it to both sides of my pages here, but you'll see in the end, you only notice the one on the left. This layout went in a completely different direction than I intended to. But for now, I am going to try to cover up the green paint on the right page and work on my background. So to adhere my ledger sheets to the background, I'm using a very thin layer of matte gel medium from Dina Wakley, and I'm applying it with my Nuvo Spatula. I am going to go ahead and do that for both sides, and I will be drying in between my layers. And next up, I will go ahead and add in some gesso, some white gesso. Now that will help me to push this ledger sheet in the background so it's not standing out too much, and it will also help me cover up some of that green paint. And you can see I'm taking the time right now to add in the strips that I removed, but you won't see that in the end. So next up, I'm going to go ahead and blend some of those distressed oxide inks that you see on the right, and adding the gesso to the page will definitely help those inks blend a lot easier. And you can see it's also covering up the green paint on the background. Now the colors that I used today, I will go ahead and list them in my description box. So adding in my inks, I'm just looking at my background, adding it where I think it needs some more of each color. And adding in the red was a little tricky. I was a little scared adding in the red. That's a hard color for me to work with, but I am adding it in slowly and just little bits at a time. Now it looks a bit messy right now, but once it's blended in and toned down, it definitely blends in and look really well together. So you can see that red is really bold right now in the background, but adding some more of the other colors on top of that and blending them all together, it's going to tone it down and just leave a really nice contrast in the background. So I'm really loving how this background is coming together. The colors work really well together, and now I'm going to pull in this mask from Dylusions. This is a Diane Reevely mask. I recently added a haul video where I unboxed this mask along with some other items. If you haven't checked it out, I will go ahead and add it to the top, a link to the top of this video so you can take a look. I wanted to use the mask instead of the stencil, and I'm using some black gesso together with my dauber and going all the way around the mask. So here I'm going to add some stamping. I'm using this Grunge scroll stamp from Visible Image. And you can see it's giving me a hard time to stamp it on the edge of that background there. I think I needed some padding behind my paper. I'm going to remove it from the block, which will help a little, and add it to the top left corner as well. So this is where it went into a different direction than I intended to. I added that black gesso to the center part of that right page where I will go ahead and add a quote in a few moments. I also used some of that black gesso to outline the entire layout. Here I'm adding that scroll stamp to the left page just to tie it all together. And next up, I'll work on that quote. Now, I pulled out the sticker sheet I had on my desk, and I used that sticker as a title. moving along, it just looked a little bit lost. It looked a little bit too small, so I will eventually change it out. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and add that in. Now that sticker title seemed a bit too small, so to fill up the space, I pulled out this floral stencil, and I'm using some white gesso and a dauber and adding those floral pieces throughout this layout. And I think I added a bit too much because it sort of took over, but you'll see how I went ahead and fixed that. So after adding all of that stenciling, I felt my silhouette was getting a little bit lost on the page. It was not standing out as much as I wanted it to, so I'm just outlining it right now with a black Sharpie on the inner part of it, and then I'll use my white gel pen and I'll just add a border of scribble to the right side. Eventually I will go all the way around the silhouette, but for now I'm just adding it just in several areas. So to have my silhouette stand out even more, I am using what's left of that black gesso on that dauber, and I'm just adding it to all of the florals that I added in with the white gesso. So it's just toning down that white where you can still see the flowers on the background, but it's toned down a lot, so the girl, that silhouette of the girl stands out a lot more. you can see here, I'm just ripping apart that sticker I added as the quote, and all of it did not come off, but I'm just going to use some black gesso and it will take care of that space. And it looks a little dark right now, but once it dries, it will blend in with the rest of the background. Now I am going to go ahead and hand write my quote. I do need to work on my lettering, but I really wanted to hand write and not use a stencil. So I'm adding in my quote right now with the white gel pen. Then I'll go over it one more time to make sure it's bright enough. And then I will go back in with all of the Distress Oxide ink colors that I used before and add a bit to the right side of this page, of this layout. So in the end, most of the color you're seeing is only on the left page. You can also see that ledger paper that I use on the left page inside of the silhouette. Everything else got covered up, but I really love how this turned out. I love those flowers speaking through on the right page. The quote, I felt it might have been better if it was a little larger, but I really do love how this turned out. So I hope you guys are inspired. I hope you enjoyed the process today, and I want to thank you all for watching. Coming up, I will have some still shots as well. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I hope you consider subscribing today, and also hit that notification bell. That way you'll know once I upload new videos. So thanks for watching, and until next time, bye.